Cities that sit comfortably in the heart of a nation, their identity clear, their story a straight line. And then there are cities like Strasbourg. To understand Strasbourg, you must first understand its river. The city was not built beside the mighty belligerent Rhine, that great artery of commerce and conflict that forms the border with Germany. Instead, it was born on a safer, more intimate embrace of water, the river Il, which, just before meeting the Rhine, splits and braids itself into a series of channels forming an island. This is the Grande Ile, the historic heart of Strasbourg, an urban island protected by a moat of its own making. This geography is a metaphor for the city itself, contained, protected, yet eternally connected to the greater flow of the continent. Strasbourg is a city of currents, a place where history, culture, and language have never been static. It is the quintessential borderland soul, a hyphen between Latin and Germanic Europe. A city that has changed its nationality 4 times in the space of a single human lifetime. To walk its streets is to feel this constant, fluid synthesis. It is to see a German-sounding street name written on a French blue sign, to eat a choucroute that is both robustly Germanic and refined with Alsatian Riesling, and to hear a conversation that glides effortlessly between French, German, and the unique, warm cadence of the Alsatian dialect. To truly know this city is to navigate 3 distinct currents that flow through its heart. There is the soaring, vertical current of its magnificent cathedral, a prayer in stone that pulls the soul towards the heavens. There is the intimate, horizontal current of La Petite France, a world of water, timber, and flowers that embraces the human scale with breathtaking charm. And there is the modern, forward-looking current of its European quarter, a district of glass and steel that channels the hopes and complexities of an entire continent. Strasbourg is not a simple destination. It is a journey through the very idea of Europe. A city whose beauty lies not in a singular, perfect image, but in the rich, complex, and unending dialogue between its many worlds. Let us begin where the city itself begins, with the vertical prayer. The Cathedral of Notre-Dame de Strasbourg is not merely a landmark. It is the city's heart, its soul, its defining feature, and for centuries, its single greatest reason for being. It is less a building and more of a geological event, a mountain of pink sandstone that rises from the flat plain of Alsace with such force and grace that it seems to defy the very laws of physics. For over 400 years, from 1439 to 1874, its single, exquisitely detailed spire made it the tallest building in all of Christendom. It is a structure that commands awe, a monument so vast and so intricate that it can never be fully grasped in a single glance. To stand before its western facade is to confront a theological textbook written in stone. The 3 great portals are a dizzying tapestry of sculpture, a Bible for the poor designed to instruct an illiterate populace. Here are the wise and foolish virgins, the virtues trampling the vices, and a dramatic depiction of the Passion of Christ. Above, the Gallery of Kings on horseback rides across the facade, and the great rose window sits like a celestial eye in the center. The entire surface is alive with figures, canopies, and gargoyles, a testament to the collective genius of generations of anonymous medieval craftsmen. Yet, for all its immense mass, the overwhelming impression is one of astonishing lightness. The sandstone is carved with such incredible delicacy that it often resembles lacework. This is most true of the spire, a masterpiece of flamboyant Gothic architecture. It is not a solid pyramid of stone, but a transparent, eight-sided structure of open-work tracery that seems to dissolve into the sky itself. It is a work of profound structural daring and breathtaking beauty. The great French writer Victor Hugo described it as a gigantic and delicate marvel, while the German poet Goethe, who studied in Strasbourg, saw it as a sublimely towering, wide-spreading tree of God. The story of the cathedral's construction is the story of the city's own evolution. It stands on the site of a Roman temple and several earlier churches. The current structure began in the 12th century, and parts of its crypt and choir still retain the solid, earthbound power of the Romanesque style. But it was in the 13th century that the Great Gothic project began, inspired by the cathedrals of the Île-de-France. Using the new techniques of ribbed vaults and flying buttresses, the builders were able to open up the walls, dematerialize the stone, and create a soaring interior space filled with colored light. To step inside is to enter another world. The initial impression is one of immense quiet and cool verticality. The nave rises to a staggering height, drawing the eye and the spirit upward. But then, one becomes aware of the light. The stained glass windows of Strasbourg are among the most magnificent in Europe. Some in the north transept are rare survivals from the original 12th and 13th century Romanesque and Gothic periods, their deep blues and ruby reds casting jewel-like tones onto the ancient stone pillars. The great rose window in the facade filters the afternoon sun through a complex web of color, creating a kaleidoscope of shifting light. On the days of the spring and autumn equinoxes, a remarkable phenomenon occurs. A beam of sunlight passes through a specific piece of clear glass in one of the southern windows, creating a vibrant green dot that slowly travels across the pulpit, a testament to the astonishing astronomical precision of the medieval builders. Within the cathedral's southern transept stands one of the great masterpieces of Gothic sculpture, the Pillar of Angels, or Pilier des Anges. Dating from around 1230, this pillar is not merely a structural support. It is a piece of stone theater, a vertical drama depicting the Last Judgment. At its base, above them, angels sound their trumpets, and finally at the top, a serene Christ sits as the ultimate judge, surrounded by the angels who carry the instruments of his passion. The figures are carved with an elegance, realism, and emotional depth that was revolutionary for their time. They are not stiff, hieratic figures, but living, breathing characters caught in a moment of cosmic significance. The cathedral holds another marvel, a testament to the city's fascination with science, time, and mechanics: the astronomical clock. The current clock, a 19th century marvel by Jean-Baptiste Schwilg, is the third to occupy this spot. It is a hugely complex mechanism that indicates not only the time, but also the date, the day of the week, the sign of the zodiac, the phase of the moon, and the positions of the planets. Its true spectacle occurs every day at 12:30 p.m. As the clock chimes, a series of automata spring to life. Figures representing the different stages of life, a child, a youth, an adult, and an old man, pass before death. Higher up, the 12 apostles parade before a figure of Christ, who blesses them. As they pass, a large cockerel flaps its wings, raises its head, and crows 3 times, its call echoing through the vast, silent church. It is a charming and deeply symbolic piece of theater, a meditation on time, mortality, and salvation. The cathedral has captivated not just pilgrims, but poets. The great German writer Johann Wolfgang von Goethe spent time as a student in Strasbourg in the 1770s. He initially subscribed to the prevailing neoclassical disdain for Gothic architecture, viewing it as chaotic and barbaric. But his daily encounters with the Strasbourg Cathedral transformed his opinion. He began to climb the spire regularly, to study its structure, and he came to see it not as chaos, but as a form of organic, God-given beauty. His essay on the cathedral became a foundational text of the German Romantic movement, reclaiming the Gothic style as a powerful expression of national and spiritual genius. The cathedral had worked its magic on him, just as it continues to work its magic on millions of visitors today. If the cathedral represents the city's vertical, spiritual ambition, then the district of La Petite France represents its horizontal, human, and intimate embrace. To wander from the monumental stone grandeur of the cathedral square into the winding, watery lanes of La Petite France is to enter a different state of being. Here, the scale shifts dramatically. The city's prayerful upward gaze is replaced by a gentle focus on the life-giving waters of the river Ill, which splits here into 4 picturesque canals. This is Strasbourg at its most charming, a perfectly preserved medieval quarter where the gentle sound of flowing water is the constant soundtrack. The district is a world of timber and water, of weeping willows that trail their leaves in the canals, and of magnificent half-timbered houses built right on the water's edge. Its name, Little France, is deceptively charming and hides a grittier history. It is derived not from a sense of national pride, but from a 15th century hospice that was built here to treat soldiers returning from the Italian wars who were suffering from syphilis, then known disparagingly as the French disease. The area was once the industrial heart of the old city, home to the city's tanners, millers, and fishermen. The unique architecture of the quarter is a direct result of this history. The Maison des Tanneurs, Tanner's House, now a famous restaurant, is a perfect example. Like many of the buildings here, its most distinctive feature is its steep roof with large open attics. These were not living quarters. They were functional spaces where the tanners would hang their hides to dry in the open air. The half-timbered houses, with their sloping roofs and galleries, are built in a style that is both beautiful and perfectly adapted to the needs of the artisans who lived and worked within them. A walk through La Petite France is a journey of constant discovery. The main street, the Rue du Benoît-Plante, is lined with magnificent examples of this vernacular architecture. At the end of the district, the canals flow towards the Pont Couvert, the covered bridges. These 3 bridges, punctuated by 4 imposing 14th century square towers, were once part of the city's outer ring of defenses. The wooden roofs that gave them their name are long gone, but the towers remain, a powerful reminder of medieval Strasbourg's military might. Just beyond the Pont Couvert lies the Barrage Vauban, or Vauban Dam. This impressive 17th century structure, built by the great military engineer of Louis XIV, served as both a bridge and a sophisticated defensive lock. In the event of an attack, its sluice gates could be closed, flooding the entire southern part of the city and creating an impassable marsh. Today, a panoramic terrace runs along its roof, offering what is perhaps the single most beautiful view of La Petite France, the Pont Couvert, and the distant, soaring spire of the cathedral. It is a view that perfectly encapsulates the harmony of the district, a landscape where human ingenuity and the natural beauty of the river meet. This harmony, however, belies a history that has been anything but peaceful. The soul of Strasbourg has been perpetually contested, its identity shaped by the immense historical forces of the European continent. Its golden age came as a free imperial city within the Holy Roman Empire. This status gave it a high degree of autonomy, and it flourished as a major center of commerce, art, and most importantly, printing. Following Johannes Gutenberg's time in the city in the mid-15th century, Strasbourg became one of the leading centers of the new printing industry. This new technology for disseminating ideas would prove crucial in the city's next great historical role. In the 16th century, Strasbourg became a city of refuge and a vibrant hub of the Protestant Reformation. Its atmosphere of intellectual freedom and its powerful printing presses attracted reformers from all over Europe. The city adopted a moderate form of Protestantism, seeking a middle way between the teachings of Martin Luther in Germany and Huldrych Zwingli. The key figure in this movement was Martin Bucer, a brilliant theologian and diplomat who worked tirelessly to find a common ground for the new faith. For several decades, Strasbourg was a haven for Protestant thinkers, including John Calvin, who spent 3 years here as a pastor to French-speaking refugees. This period of Protestant independence came to a close in the late 17th century. In 1681, King Louis XIV of France, through a show of overwhelming military force and astute political maneuvering, annexed the city. The transition was relatively peaceful. Louis XIV wisely confirmed the city's traditional rights and, while he promoted Catholicism and built fortifications designed by Vauban, he allowed Strasbourg to retain much of its unique cultural and linguistic character. This began the long period of French rule, during which the city's German and Alsatian heritage continued to thrive alongside its new French identity. The most painful and defining period in the city's history, the time that truly forged its modern, resilient soul, was the 75-year span between 1870 and 1945. After France's defeat in the Franco-Prussian War, Alsace and part of Lorraine were annexed by the newly formed German Empire. Strasbourg became the capital of the German Reichsland of Alsace-Lotharingen. A massive new German quarter, the Neustadt was built with imposing Wilhelminian-era buildings designed to stamp a German character on the city. Then, after the First World War, the city joyfully celebrated its return to France. This joy was extinguished in 1940 with the brutal annexation by Nazi Germany during the Second World War. The city endured 4 years of occupation and attempts at forced Germanization before its final, triumphant liberation in late 1944. This repeated traumatic changing of hands created a unique mentality in the people of Strasbourg. It fostered a certain skepticism towards nationalism and a deep understanding of the fluidity of identity. It created a population that was bilingual and bicultural, able to navigate both the French and German worlds with ease. This complex history of conflict, this experience of being a perpetual prize in the struggles between two great nations, made Strasbourg the perfect symbolic choice for a new role in the post-war world, the capital of European reconciliation. After the devastation of the Second World War, a new generation of leaders dreamed of a united continent where such conflicts would be impossible. They needed a symbolic capital, a city whose very history embodied the tragedy of European division and the hope of future unity. Strasbourg was the obvious choice. Its location on the Rhine, its dual Franco-German heritage, and its history of conflict made it the ideal place to build the institutions of a new, peaceful Europe. Today, just a short tram ride from the medieval heart of the Grand Ile lies a completely different city, the European Quarter. This district is a landscape of modern, purpose-built architecture, home to some of the most important institutions on the continent. Here you will find the Palais de l'Europe, the main building of the Council of Europe, an organization dedicated to human rights and democracy. Nearby is the striking contemporary building of the European Court of Human Rights. Designed by the British architect Richard Rogers, its metallic form symbolizing justice in the modern age. The most prominent building is the seat of the European Parliament. This immense structure, with its vast sweeping glass facade and an intentionally unfinished-looking tower, is a bold statement of modern European identity. Designed by Architecture Studio, its central light-filled chamber hosts the plenary sessions of the Parliament, where representatives from across the European Union gather to debate and legislate. The entire quarter, set in the peaceful green districts of the Orangerie and Robertsau, has a unique international atmosphere. It is a place of diplomats, translators, civil servants, and journalists from every corner of the continent. A laboratory where a new post-national European identity is being forged every day. In the end, a journey through Strasbourg is a journey through these converging currents. It is to be awed by the sublime, vertical faith of the cathedral, a monument that took centuries to build and that speaks of a unified Christendom. It is to be charmed by the human-scale, horizontal world of La Petite France, a place of craft, water, and picturesque intimacy. And it is to be intrigued by the cool, transparent modernity of the European quarter, a place that looks resolutely to the future. The true genius of Strasbourg lies in its ability to be a city of synthesis. It does not force these different identities to cancel each other out. It allows them to flow into one another, to exist in a constant, dynamic, and fruitful dialogue. The city is a living bridge, not just between the past and the present, or between France and Germany, but between different ways of seeing the world. It proves that the most resilient and interesting identities are not those that are pure and monolithic, but those that are layered, complex, and forever open to the next current of history. To visit Strasbourg is to understand that a city, like a person, can have many stories, and that it is in the telling and retelling of all of them that its true captivating character is found. you.